with Boop with our Monday night interview, and we'll go back to introducing everybody. Bard, go ahead.
Yay! I am Bard. I am the Flex DPS for Team Boop. You may know me as the guy who presses Q a lot, or the guy who's constantly memeing around in the Harmony discussion chat. I look forward to this. I hope I'm like making a name for myself. I hope people know me and that I'm like a positive influence.
Shadow.
Cool. And I am Shadowfang. I am the off tank for Boop, and I'm also our shot caller. And honestly, I'm just trying to make a big impact in the community.
Nice. Well, hello to you both. And as the stream progresses, we should be hearing from potentially more gamers from Boop. At least one. We have confirmation of that. So before we get into the big group questions, we'll talk to you both individually about your experience with Boop, your record as a team, what you plan on doing for the rest of the season, and then how your time in the community has been spent, well, all the ups and downs of it.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, we'll start with both of you again. Open-ended question. What's it been like season 3? You can talk about any other seasons that you may have been a part of as well, or the team has. I have not that experience. So yeah, jump into it.
So not only are we new with this season, but I'm pretty sure Boop is new with this season. There's a little bit of carryover from a different team. I think Gravity, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we were the remnants of Gravity.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I think it was Gravity though. I think some of them went to Karma. Some they scattered. They scattered to the winds, reduced to atoms. Yeah, I mean, I love Boop so far. We're definitely more in this just to have fun, have a good time. And I think the community recognizes that we're here to meme around, but we also, we can be a threat if you don't take it seriously.
And for me, I came coming into this like I definitely wanted to get serious about Overwatch, but like I also wanted to progress as a player. I had a few tryouts lined up. Boop was my first one, and I kind of just fell in love with the team's dynamic at the time. It was very free flowing, and it was just very like like we're gonna take every game on the chin, win or lose. Like we're just gonna go free flow and just go with it. I really love that team dynamic, and a lot of other teams, like when they wanted to originally pick me up, they were looking for main tanks, and as an off tank player, it felt very awkward. And when Boop wanted me on, like they loved seeing my off tank, so I kind of just stuck with his team. And honestly, it was, in my opinion, the better choice that I could have made at that point. So.
Nice. Super cool to hear. Well, what we can mention first is the game against Jetpack Cats, which for everyone watching the stream, they are currently like peering in on map 1. So we'll try to align it chronologically if you want to talk about.
They're watching your Discord.
Are they really?
No, they see the match. I have stream up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a mixture of both. It should be at least.
Oh, never mind. My stream was just scuffed. Don't listen to me.
Well, anyway, you're mapping the Jetpack Cats. You were talking to me a little bit about it before the interview, but I'm sure everyone here wants to hear your feelings on, just how it went. Nothing too crazy. We don't have to like call people out, but just like we can talk about the ups, the downs, and what you're gonna take away from it going into next week.
I literally said before this that I didn't want to be dramatic. I don't want to cause any drama. And now you're asking me literally what we were talking about beforehand.
We don't have to bring up the drama. We could just talk about the good, the bad, and not as much about the ugly.
I think there was some ugly from both sides. That's it's a lot of these games end up being slug matches, and that's how it turned out. I think this first map, I don't want to get into it too much, but I think this Lijiang overall was the most scuffed, and I think the first map of Lijiang for us personally was the most scuffed too. So when that reset happens, A lot of things can happen. It can really slow you down. It can really change how things are playing out. Uh, but like, I think once we get into the other maps, it really does. It really is like this a really close, just slug match of a game. I think the first two maps uh, were kind of each team got their chance to roll, and then the last two maps were just fucking punching fests to see who could win it.
Gotcha, Shadow. What are your thoughts on the match?
I think honestly, our for us, we kind of knew going in that Lijiang was going to be a tough match for us. We've never been like historically good on Lijiang, and for just a lot of our comfort picks aren't super strong on Lijiang. But I think once we got to Horizon, we were going to be a lot stronger. A lot of us were comfortable on that map, which is why I think we did so well. We had a plan, we stuck to it, and it just ended up working really well for us. Personally, I think the last two matches were extremely close, especially Junkertown. Junkertown could have gone either way, and honestly, I think both teams performed extremely well. And honestly, like the fact that it was so close is something I just really enjoyed.
Yeah, the matches. It's always more fun when they're close. Like I think I think even Boop's first win against Spare Change wouldn't have been as satisfying and as fun as a map if it hadn't had been so close. Like Spare Change really made us work our asses off for that first win, and I think that made it all the more worthwhile and made it a lot more fun. Really.
Gotcha. So, we can talk a little bit about that too. Aside from your bye win against Overtime, Spare Change is the only team that Boop has that winning record against. So, talk us through the mentality going into the game that may have been different from any of the other ones, or maybe just after the game, how the team's morale I hope was boosted a little bit, and that
Yeah,
momentum that you guys have been trying to ride off since then.
we that's unfortunate because we had the bye week the next week. I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
if I'm remembering correctly. So we went from that win to just like a week of nothing. That really like tempered that momentum a lot. Really like slowed us down a lot more than it could have. I think we still brought some of that momentum to the Maelstrom game, but without that like week in between where we could have played someone else and probably continued that winning streak. We didn't really have the full momentum going back into it.
Hmm.
We definitely like once we lost that first map, we definitely got slowed in the Maelstrom match because we didn't have the chance to hold on to that momentum. And I think that's why, like, I personally don't like bye weeks. I think they're kind of scuffed. Uh, RIP to the teams, obviously. Like, I don't want to put it on them. If something happens, it happens. I do think they're a little scuffed personally. Uh, but like Spare Change, it was just everything came together. We had Shadow, and we just picked up Seraph and Whittle, and we kind of ran that meta comp for the first time. We had Doomfist Reaper, we had Pharah, Sombra, we had a little bit of everything. We had some Doomfist May, I think, and some May Reaper as well. On a couple maps, we played a lot of Sim, but we just leaned into that meta, and it was stuff teams hadn't seen before from us. So there was really no counter, and we really could just bring it to them.
Nice. That's really cool, and I can appreciate your opinion on the scuffness of bye weeks.
Yeah.
Us in the Discord tier have you get two of them usually now. I mean, it was late with the
Yep,
aimbots
that's
loss,
that's
but
super scuffed.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very strange. There's a weird power vacuum that occurred when aimbots left because that was a pretty big team, and yeah. So that's super interesting. I would have liked to have seen what post spare change 4.0 Boop would have had to say to potentially if overtime wasn't in the way like Maelstrom. I know that that was a
Yeah,
game you're a little unhappy about with the bye week and a couple of the other things leading up to it. So that would have been I think potentially a much different game. I mean maybe potentially the same storyline if Maelstrom really was like hard at
It,
practice to make sure that you
yeah,
guys weren't going to get a win, but at least you would have came into it with a different mentality, and that can
yeah.
often change the course of a game.
Yeah, and it was really unfortunate because Maelstrom as well. I also just watched myself as Tracer dive into those mines. No one saw that, guys. That didn't happen in the match. It's all right. Everyone makes mistakes. Uh, with it's also unfortunate because like we really showed up to spare change with uh this kind of comp that we had solidified. You know, the Doomfist Reaper double shield comp, and in scrims and in spare change, obviously, like there really wasn't a big answer to that when we were playing it, and with Maelstrom, they had that extra week to prepare for that and kind of build counters around it, and kind of watch like Overwatch League and watch how the meta was progressing to see how people were countering it, and that was really unfortunate as well.
Right. So we'll move away from your record so far in the community and talk more about how the meta has been shaping your team. I know you're a relatively new team when it comes to how you're
Mhm.
structured, so that will be even more interesting of how you've had to adapt to that kind of change. So we'll start with Shadow since we'll go down to tank line, then we'll go to DPS after that. So Shadow, as what I believe is the Sigma player for Boop, talk
I
to
am.
talk to me a little bit about your role as off tank and maybe how linear that's become with Sigma's addition into the game and big statement in the meta, or things that you're trying to do to maybe stray away from Sigma, or just let us in on a couple of Boop's secrets that you're allowed to talk about in front of all these people.
From what I can talk about is one of the major things that we did is that we kind of sat down and decided like, hey, let's, especially when it came to that spare change game and even with Jetpack Cats, we're like, hey, like, we're trying new things out. We're gonna try and see what works. And honestly, Sigma just worked out really well. At that point, I had not played really Sigma much other than the PTR. Our coach was a huge help when he basically taught me how to play Sigma from scratch, which was a huge addition to our team because we play really well around double shield. I think when it comes to our double shield, we're probably one of the more aggressive double shield comps like teams that there are in the Harmony tier. And honestly, like I think that's a big boon to us. Like just the fact that we play so well around it, and when we run that Ryan Zarya, we keep that aggression, and it's starting to work out really well for us. We kind of look at the meta as just a rough outline because we understand like as we are right now, like it might not always fit our hero pools, but if we work well and we lean on each other, we're getting a lot stronger. And so the other thing is that, like I said, I am our shot caller, but originally I wasn't. So we are currently working with me as a shot caller at the moment because I like kind of last minute I kind of got put into that role, and so it ended up working out really well in the Jetpacks game. I honestly think we did a great job of working around that, and honestly, I think with Sigma being in so well in the meta, it's a character I kind of adapted to really quickly, and I honestly think that like we can keep working around that because Sigma's just it's become one of my better heroes, and it's just nice to have him around as a pocket pick.
Nice. Talk about more of your like potential Reinhardt comps that you were mentioning before and stuff like that. Did you find Sigma being useful outside of the conventional double shield lineup? That you're still running Sigma as like potentially a different pick of like Diva potentially, or even Zarya, or are you just sticking to
Mm.
if Sigma's on the field, Orissa's on the field?
So at the moment right now, we're kind of doing that. We're running the Ryan Zarya as a package, and we're running the Arisa Sigma as a package. We are currently experimenting to see what's going to work outside of it. I don't want to go too much into detail with that, just because like it's experimenting still. But one thing though that we did end up doing is that just to play to our strengths. As you can see in a few games, you'll see me play the Ryan and the Sigma. So, and it's a really interesting dynamic because usually you don't have your off tank playing one of the main tanks, and so it's something that sometimes people don't expect, and it's something that like being able to keep up their aggression and keeping the tempo of the game kind of works really well in our favor.
Gotcha. And since they're not here, speak to Seraph. I think you mentioned earlier that they're a newer addition to the team. How are they enjoying the what people often refer to as horse jail, but the main tank role is Orisa or sometimes any other tanks that they prefer.
I can't. I don't want to speak too much on his behalf, but I can kind of speak because we both kind of share that main tank responsibility on different tanks. And I think that's one thing though that we have going for us, where neither one of us feels like we're put into a jail because we have that relief from the other one, depending on what comp we're running. Like I know for sure, like when I get to play Sigma, I feel a little bit more relieved, and I know when he gets to play Zarya, he's a little bit more relieved as a Zarya main. So it kind of helps us both out because we kind of run comps 50-50 depending on the map.
Gotcha. That's really cool. I like that main tank isn't just one guy running Reinhardt, Orisa, and Wrecking Ball Winston into the ground. It's a little bit of shared responsibility. So super cool. And then now we can talk about the DPS. So first we'll start with the newcomer. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we can talk about your role as the DPS player for Boop in this current meta. If you're here.
You here, Layla?
Oh, are you talking to me?
Yes.
Sorry. So my role on Boop in general, or just
Yeah, I mean, just introduce
Yeah.
yourself and then talk about your role as the DPS player for Boop in the meta. Talk about what you do.
Sure. Okay, so on Boop, when we originally started, I was mostly just kind of like a Sombra player, because that's what I am. I'm a specialty Sombra player, and that changed quickly when they were like, here's this new meta, good luck, double shields, all this crazy BS, and we were like, all right, this isn't gonna work for us. And so basically Bard and I had to learn how to play together with new heroes, because we were both like, okay, so he has to play Doomfist and I had to play Symmetra and McCree, and I'm like, before this I had no time on McCree, like, whatsoever. I had never even touched him. I was like, how do I flashbang? What, you want me to fan the hammer? Oh, that's disgusting. And I was just like, all right. And so eventually I started picking it up, and I was like, all right, he's a lot of fun. And so that's why now a lot of people still see me as like a Sombra player, which is fine because I do love her, but that's why we haven't really seen too much of her lately. So
Gotcha. No, that's super cool. I love Summer a lot. I know a lot of our a little bit more relaxed practices. We run a lot of Sombra as well, and we still find value in her to counter Doomfist and Reaper. So it's hard, but I appreciate the one tricks in the world. And
One thing that she did forget to mention, by the way, is so the person that was speaking, her name is Layla, and she is also the captain of Boop as well.
I was wondering, is it's the Boop the name, and then we have the Sombra one trick. I was wondering if it was all falling into place.
So yeah, so she is our captain.
Okay, I will explain that. So basically, long story short, we started off as Gravity, and then a lot of stuff happened, and Gravity basically said, we don't really want to have a team anymore, but we want to keep the brand. So basically there's no more team, and there were it wasn't malicious by any means, but Boop, like the original members of Boop, like me, Wraiths, Widows, we were kind of confused. We were just like, wait, so there's no more team. And so Cav basically stepped up to us and he said, so you guys have two options. You can either stay together and try to make a new team, or you can disperse and try to get onto other teams. And everybody was basically like, well, we don't want to disband. Like, we like each other, we think it can work, let's stay together. And so when that happened, we had 48 hours to basically come up with a team name, a team logo, and put a team together. And so we were brainstorming and just kicking the can around, and I didn't like any of the team names. And I was like, no, I don't like that, I don't like that. And then jokingly they were like, Boop, that's good. And I said, I hate that, I think it's so stupid. I hated it. And they're like, come on, it's so funny, it's so good. And it grew on me. And it's actually really cool because it's like a combination of Lucio and Sombra when you look at it. And so basically that's how Boop formed, like the team name and the team. And then Race and I kind of have try to keep Boop alive. And so now we have like Bard and Shadow and Seraph, and like now we're finding the people who want to stick around, because before that we were really struggling roster wise, like trying to find people that fit with our dynamic. Because everybody will say that their team is different, and that's true, but I would definitely say that Boop has like a weird assortment of personalities, and it's not always easy to click or get along. And so when we do find someone that fits or meshes with us, it's really special because we are just so different and we have gone through so much.
We're also all very full. Like we're not all just different personalities. We're all very strong personalities, and we're kind of like we're not very flexible on those personalities. So you kind of either click with us or you don't. It's one of those.
Yeah, you kind of either click with us or you snap mentally.
Yeah.
It's not, there hasn't been like an in between. I think we've lost two people just because they didn't click, and I think we've lost four. I think we've lost four people.
Yeah. Well, Trippy, we didn't want Trippy to leave, but he had to because school was priority. So if we could have Trippy back, we would love him. He's always part of our family, and that's the other thing. Like I know a lot of teams say this, but Boop is really just one big family. Like we talk to each other outside of just game stuff. Most of us know all of our real names. We talk about real life stuff, and so like if Bard's having a bad day, I can kind of know. Like I know right away. I'm like Bard, like what is going on? What's the matter? Let's talk about it. And so that's really important to me. Like when I was making a team and finding a team, I wanted something that wasn't just Overwatch. I wanted something that was like, okay, at the end of the day, like this is a second family, and essentially that's what Boop has turned into.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to tell if I've had a bad day because if I'm tilted before we're in the match, it's been a bad day.
Yeah.
I think I'm the one who tilts on the team.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I lean into that role of if someone needs to get mad, it's gonna be me.
The thing with our team is we're very much like we have a very much a shared mentality. Like if one of us start doing bad, we kind of all start doing bad because we all lean on each other pretty well. Like I was saying earlier, like for instance, like I said, I wasn't always the shot caller on our team, but I did become it. And so when we're all in a great mood and we're all keeping that energy high, like we were on Horizon, going back to the game that we played, on Horizon, we literally did an amazing job of just like keeping that energy high and up the entire time, not letting loose, and like you could feel that like in our comms and the way we were playing, like, and we could all like have that shared feeling of this is what we're doing, this is how we're playing, and it ended up carrying out throughout the entire match. Even though we lost, I honestly think that we can come back. Like we could have came back in those maps and won, but honestly, like our team is very much like you have like it really is like everyone's kind of making sure everyone's okay before, during, and after, and it's a very key part of what makes us Boop.
Yeah, I mean, I wanna go back real quick to something Layla just said, where she was talking about the team name. She was like, "Wow, I hate it," and then we went with it, and that's a thing on Boop. That happens often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I don't think Alayla really wanted to play Sim for our team, but she's our Sim now.
Yeah.
So that's how that went.
I was gonna say like.
Yeah.
The other thing with me is I ended up learning 2 heroes that I do not play on this team.
Yeah.
Like I ended up picking up the Sigma. I ended up picking up the Ryan. Like those are 2 heroes that I'm not known for playing. Like I'm known for the Diva, or like when I joined the team, I was known for the Diva. I was known for the Zarya. I literally have almost 1,200 hours on Diva alone. So like for me, it was very interesting being like basically learning a hero from scratch and like basically learning another hero where I only played occasionally. But honestly, like it's something that I didn't feel like it was a burden because this team literally felt like if I learn this, it's not going to go to waste. Like our team's going to use it and we'll be fine. So it was a great feeling.
Yeah. I don't think there's anyone on this team who hasn't been forced to learn a new hero.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like I joined this team as like
wait, no, Seraph. Seraph hasn't learned a new hero yet.
Oh, I guess he didn't play. I guess he played Orisa beforehand.
Yeah, he was an Orisa Zarya main.
Yeah, I joined this team as a full flex. I was picked up because we didn't have a Roadhog during ice fishing. So I was a DPS Roadhog Lucio flex when I was picked up,
Huh.
and I was essentially just going to be playing projectile DPS when I was playing DPS, and that has not.
That hasn't changed much.
That I mean, it hasn't changed too much, but like I was not going to be playing Reaper, Doom, Bastion. I was going to be playing Hog.
Yeah, and I was picked up as a pure off tank, and then when I picked up a main tank, it definitely was a weird sensation. But especially because I was picked up as a diva main, and I think I played diva like once in a game, which was interesting. But honestly, this team is very much like I wouldn't trade this team for another one anytime soon.
Yeah.
Nice. That's super cool to hear. I love the family vibes. My team's all about that as well. We were all friends in real life before we did all this, so it made the transition even stronger. Now we're even better friends, huh? So, but yeah, no, that's super cool. Bard, you just kind of gave us what I was gonna ask next about your role as DPS. But how has this meta been treating you as the all around flex, but specifically DPS player?
Well, I don't even know if I am an all around flexer.
Wait, hold on.
I think
His role is
DPS.
easier. His
Yeah,
role
I'm
is
just
easier
DPS
than
now.
meta. My role
Yeah.
is the hard one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally
I mean,
all of us had to learn new heroes. Like,
I
yes,
mean,
it was very much...
to be fair, and I agree with you. This meta is shit. I to be fair, I have been thrown in and out of different like DPS roles a couple times on this team. So like before we picked up our last DPS player who's no longer with us, I was our Doomfist. We were like, we need to have a Doomfist player. So Bard, you're our Doomfist, and we're gonna be running a lot of Hackfist and like May Doom. And I was like, cool, all right, I guess I'm Doom. So I spent like 2 weeks just playing Doomfist, really building up my Doomfist gameplay. And then we picked up Whittle, and they were like, all right, he's gonna be our Doomfist now. You're just Reaper. So I spent 2 to 3 weeks just playing Reaper in matches and scrims. I stopped playing Doomfist entirely. I was a little frustrated, but you know, he was a better Doomfist than me. It's what happens.
It came back full circle, man. It came back full circle.
And then now I'm back on Doomfist, baby. So yeah,
that's awesome.
and I mean, like, I feel like if there's any heroes I'm gonna like make a name for myself for in quotation marks on what I'm playing right now, it's gonna be Doomfist and Pharah. I think those are the two that I probably have already like started to make a name for myself for. Feel free to correct me. But like, I guess Bastion if that stays the meta, but I mean,
you're also a
jump
specialist.
Yeah, okay, I've had some big tires actually. Agreed. But that's just hitting Q.
Yeah, I think for me, like, for all of us, we have that like one hero in this current meta where like shit hits the fan, and we're just like, hey, we're going to this. Like, it's not working for us. Let's go with what we know. And a lot of the time, that just even if we just win that one fight, the momentum just swings for us. And like for instance, like for me in this meta, I know my hero is Sigma. I don't really have much of a choice with that. Like, you can ask kind of the rest of our team, where like I know the second I hear we're running double shield, I just don't even bother asking what I'm playing anymore. Like
JuCo.
Like a lot of like, and to be fair, even a lot of people outside of the league, they like my Sigma, but like it still feels weird because it's a hero that,
hey man,
even though I do really well on, it's very weird because like it's a hero that I just learned. It feels like, even though I've been playing him for a little bit now.
JuCo, real quick, you just skipped over my Bastion 6K.
It's okay. It's okay. There'll be more. There'll be more.
There won't.
There'll be more.
But my last good play.
Bastion's in the game.
Yeah.
You'll see more.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think like the other thing is like, you know, Layla has her Sombra. Her EMPs are always huge. They're really well timed. Like, she's perfect. Like she's almost always on point with those combos. Like my Sigma, my fluxes might not always be the best, but like I'm a very consistent Sigma. Like if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it throughout the entire game, not just every once in a while. And I think that's something that is a huge quality in an off tank, where you want that consistent. You don't want that playmaking off tank that does something like once every 4 fights. You want that consistent is always there, pumping out that damage, getting that peel, getting the proper shields. Like you want that kind of off tank, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you do that pretty much every time we play. Even when we're in a slump, you're pretty much always like. There's never a time when I'm like, we're not playing our roles properly. Really, it's a lot of just like we know what we're doing, we're just not doing it at our best, which is more the issue a lot of the time. But like we're fixing that. It's like it's not even an issue.
I think every game that we've been doing, we've been getting way better at that. Honestly, I think we're gonna start really shining soon, and a lot of people should be starting to get a little wary about our team.
No. No one should be worried. Go do it like it's an easy match. We're easy. You don't even have to try.
It's weird. I've done these interviews for a little over 3 weeks now, and I don't know what it is, but no team thinks they're gonna start doing worse. I don't know what it is. I'll say
I mean, I
I'll say it
hope
right
not.
now. My team,
Yeah, right?
we always do worse. It's awesome. It's great. We have no expectations. We meet it. We meet those no expectations, and then we go home. We eat ice cream. We go to Papa John's. We party. Like it's awesome.
I think
No, but that's I appreciate the confidence because like it was awesome to hear from teams like Pythons where they're like, yeah, no. You saw that record before? No, we're gonna shape up. We're gonna get some wins, and we're gonna make everybody proud. We're gonna make all the dads and moms out there super proud. And you guys are coming in with the same mentality. It's just like, hey, we're here to beat butt and chew bubblegum for since I won't say the other one, but yeah, it's like let's see some wins from teams that are a little bit lower down. I love it. I mean, I am I'm from the Discord tier. I don't keep up with everything that's going on in the community quite yet. Give me next season. I'll be on it. But you all Vitamin C and Jetpack Cats, when I initially knew nobody, I was just like, I'm just looking at team names, looking at logos, looking at vibes, and I was like, you guys are up there back when I was completely ignorant. So you can take that. You can take my award of I might like you as a team later down the road of us 8 weeks ago. So that's pretty, you can hold on to that. But no, I appreciate the everything you've given me about the family vibes, the friendship vibes, the having to flex for your team and having fun with it because it's flexing stressful. I started out as a Lucio one trick, and I've been playing Reinhardt and Orisa for my team. I don't know what the heck those characters do.
Started as a
yeah, I
Lucio
feel you on the Reinhardt.
Yeah,
man. Like,
I was a
sometimes
Lucio
you're
player.
just swinging and you're like,
What do you
am I
mean, season
supposed to be
6?
swinging here?
Pretty much season, yeah. When I started on Prodigious, like Prodigious started like 2 years ago. Like we're an old team, but we only joined this community fairly recently. So yeah, I was Lucio on console in season 1, and then I played for 6 seasons there, and then I came over to PC because I wanted to be a better player. Because I was like, wow, all these scrubs here, I can get grandmasters? No way. I'll do it on PC too. I was objectively wrong. Um, and then I joined Prodigious, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be the best support player ever, like no one ever was, with my Pikachu in hand. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm playing DPS now. So I played DPS for like a season, and I was like, Tracer's really fun. Too bad I don't have a high hertz monitor. Everything's really blurry. So then I was like, let's pick a character that's good for that, Reinhardt. And then I played Reinhardt forever and ever and ever, and Double Shields came out, and then I was like, I don't like playing horse, so now I am the coach for our team. I occasionally play, and I do these, but flexing's hard. It's super stressful. It's like 3 weeks or 2 weeks of just grinding out at a completely different role you're not comfortable on, and then when you finally like are you're like there, you're only just as good as everybody else, and I'm like, oh. So it's super stressful, but I appreciate the grind that everybody does, and I see that almost everybody in your team had to do that grind, and that sounds terrible, but I love it. I love it even though.
One thing that I really love about our team though is that like other like kind of like you were saying, oh, I have to learn a new hero. Like a lot of people have that mentality, but like us, we're like, oh, I gotta learn a new hero. Okay, if that's what it takes to win, that's what we're gonna do. Like we didn't think, like half of us didn't think twice about learning a new hero, and that mentality is honestly like it's way bigger than people give it credit for. Like the amount of flexing that this team has had to do, and it's literally we're just slowly grinding away for that win. Like it's a feeling that's really hard to explain because like it's something that most people don't have to go through. Like Like, you know, you don't really go through that grind every time. You don't really have to. Like, but for us, we're just like, nah, if this is what it's gonna take, we're gonna do it, and no questions asked. Like, we want this win. We're hungry for this win. If we get 10 more wins, we're gonna be just as hungry for the 11th as we were for the first. And that's just a mentality that's like shared across this entire team, and it's a great mentality to have, in my opinion.
So speaking on the 11th win, let's talk about your potential your 11th game versus Careless Pandas. What are you doing to prepare for that match that you're willing to indulge me in, if anything?
Let's see. What can we tell you?
We're
Oh, that
trying out
sounds
a new
Okay,
player.
so we have 2 scrims tonight and tomorrow. We are running a new comp. Not gonna tell you what it is though.
Ooh, spicy.
Nothing super fancy, just something new for us. We are trying out
A
a new
nice little new
player.
face.
Yeah, we are trying out a new player, a DPS support player, just to help kind of like fill those roles when we are lacking in a certain character or somebody can't show up. Just to be on the safe side. Also, you know, it never hurts to have more people, especially like I said, if they fit with us, then of course, like we want them to stay. But other than that, we kind of just whenever we play, if you ever listen to our comms, every time, even if we win a match, we go, okay, the score is 0-0. Like we're starting over every single map, and that's just how we're looking at this week. It's 0-0. Even if we win a map, we go, okay, we're playing the next map now. We're 0-0. Like nobody's winning. We're starting over. We're not up. We're not down. Basically a blank slate, and that's just how we go into every week. Like after a match, we pretend that doesn't exist, and we work on what we need to try to get better, and prep for the next game.
The second thing that's probably the most said in our entire comms is we're telling someone somewhere to shut up.
Me,
Like-
telling me to shut up.
Most
well,
sense.
they're
You can
the
at me.
games, but
You can at me. It's me.
yeah, but no, because like I said, our team we're that team that started late. Like a lot of teams had that time to practice, like you know during the off season. Like from what I was told, like our team kind of started a little late, so we didn't have that much time to practice. We were still trying to figure out our puzzle pieces, and like I feel like every game we're getting closer and closer to taking those pieces and just jamming them into each other and making sure they fit. And like I think that's yeah, we're gonna make it work. And it's literally like the fact that all of us are just we're so willing to play together, and we're so willing, like it feels like we can lean on each other now, because I will say that was a problem for us before, and it was something that like we just like we literally talked about, like it felt like we didn't have trust with each other. And then recently it was a lot more like we kind of had to sit down and like, hey, everyone say everything you got to say right now. This is our one chance to say it. So everyone gets a fair shot. We aired out all of our annoyances, all of our concerns, everything was listened out. And we honestly we grew as a team by doing that, and it became more like that's when the whole like you know family vibe came to be like a lot stronger. And it also kind of made it so like I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, but it became like we just trusted each other blindly now, and it felt great because like it made it a lot easier to work as a team that way.
Gotcha. That's super cool. That's a good day to have. It sounds very stressful in the moment, though.
Oh yeah, no, that day like we weren't sure if people were gonna leave or not. That was definitely a concern in some people's minds. But
Yeah, but
It has to happen. It was brave of
it
you to
has
do.
to happen. I like to call it. Oh, wait, well, are we trying to keep this PC? I don't want to cuss.
Well, if it's
PG-13.
necessary, then
Yeah,
then you
PG-13.
can. But
yeah, I like to call it a bitch circle. So basically, you just sit around and you literally start. And we did this on the team that I played on before, like last season, the Meta Rejects, and it did help us. But I like to call, and I've done it in traditional sports too. So you literally just start down the line. And that's like the one time, whether it's personal or a team, you just get it off your chest. And then once you say it and it's fixed, you move on. You don't talk about it again. You don't think about it again. You air it, and then you're done. And for whatever reason, it really does work. People are like, "That's crazy. You're just creating a toxic environment." And I'm like, "Have you ever tried it?" Because it really does work. Sometimes people just need to get it off their chest or say it, and people don't because they're afraid of saying something or hurting someone's feelings. And if that's what we have to do to make us stronger and make us feel like we can, because like now everybody on our team will be like, "Hey, you're being annoying. Stop." And that wasn't there before. It would be like, "Well, I don't know, I think," and it would be like beating around the bush. Now it's like, "Bard, you're just talking too much. Please stop." And you'll be like, "Okay,
That's-
my bad, my
yeah.
bad."
That's well.
So,
That's
like
the
now
interesting
it's really
thing.
not an issue.
When I joined Boop, and like obviously not just when I joined, but I've said it a couple times since I joined. And correct me if I'm wrong, Layla, but I'm pretty sure I joined week 1. I just couldn't play our first 2 matches for scheduling reasons.
You joined us after our first match.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think I like practiced with you guys before your first match, though. I just couldn't join until after because where I was working wouldn't give me Wednesdays for the longest freaking time. But yeah, like I was early on. I was like, just if I'm too loud, if you guys need me to be quiet, or if like I'm being annoying, or if you can tell I'm tilting, just tell me to shut the f up, and I'll shut up.
And no one has taken that more to heart.
And no one took it to heart until like week 6.
Yeah, and then that's when I started speaking my mind.
People like the 4th time I said it, people were like, "Oh, we can just tell him to shut up? Oh, perfect. All right."
Yeah, no, I think I was one of the first ones to do that. Like I was, because yeah.
Okay, Alayla's been telling me to shut up forever.
Saying it since day one, but.
Wait, don't make me sound like an awful person, you guys. Come
No,
Too
we love
late. You were being rude
Yeah.
and a meanie.
on.
Said it first here.
Yeah, Alayla bullies me constantly.
Whoa.
It's so hurtful.
Whoa.
But one thing though that like I said, a lot of things changed really rapidly for our team. Like we've lost some pretty important roles throughout. Like we lost one of our healers, which was a very integral part to like kind of like keeping everyone together. He was a very like solid healer that kind of like was the a really reliable like consistent healer that didn't really make too many waves. Sadly, we ended up losing him. We lost some toxic players that were really like throwing up the dynamic, and then one of the other ones that we lost was our shot caller. And I think that was the biggest hit to our team because after that, me learning to shot call for this team, it didn't go well at first. And once we figured out what was not going well, and once we figured out like a system that worked, I think we showed off in Jetpack Cats that like if you ever listen to our comms, like our comms are very like a lot more like consistent and a lot more like constant now than they were in previous games.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're also. I mean,
there's a lot of yelling.
I wish that. I did say this because when we won against Spare Change, that was such a like great environment for the team that day, and there was so much. There were so many great comms moments that I really wish. Because like what I did was I literally went through all the recordings and like streamable clipped all the funny comms clips, and there were about 4 or 5, and I put them all in our team talk like chat in our Discord and said, "Hey, everyone should submit one of these. This is the one I'm submitting. Everyone should submit one of the different ones so that the best chance for as many of them to get in as possible happen." What it turned into was just me sending them all to Impers and like one of them being used. And I would have loved so much for like half of those to make it in.
The one that make it in was the one where you just heated your headset?
No, that was a couple weeks earlier than that. That did make it in. It wasn't me who submitted it. And I did not eat my headset. I set it down.
Yeah, okay, Bart. You keep telling yourself that.
My headset is fine. No, the one that made it in was us winning, where it was you freaking just guttural scream.
Yeah, I'm not. So the thing is that if you ever listen to our comms, the person you'll hear the most, and it's not because I talk the most, it's just me because I'm the loudest. On our team, I legitimately think I'm probably one of the loudest players that we have. And I think that's also one of the reasons I became the shot caller, just because everyone could hear me over everyone else.
I'm loud.
Yeah, like
I'm just not useful when I'm loud.
Wow.
I love how no one said anything in defense for me.
There's an important clarification there. I'm loud, and it's mostly just me yelling, "Go in!" or "That was huge! Play the game!" Something like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, before
But,
before the call tonight, I definitely like knew your voice, but didn't know who you were. And then when I heard your voice, I was like, "You're that guy who yelled really loud at me in my car when I was listening to the podcast on Spotify." So
Yeah.
pleasure to put a voice to a tag.
One thing though is that we actually will have a scrim right after this match, and I can tell you right now that one thing that we're definitely planning on doing is we're going to be trying out some new things, so that way we can definitely pull out all the stops and hopefully surprise a few people watching and kind of show
no idea what's coming.
kind of show a side of Boop that people kind of like don't realize that we do, and that's kind of that we're not a very conventional team. We understand that we're currently in Harmony tier and like people will take it seriously, but we also understand that like, hey, like we don't always have to follow the meta, and we can just kind of make our own meta right now and like go with what works, because we know that if we just play our best, we can keep going with this comp.
Yeah, I mean, Careless Pandas has no idea what's coming for him because I don't know what's coming for him. So that's how you know.
Yeah.
All in good time.
All in good time. Yeah, tonight hopefully.
I think,
Tomorrow with the latest.
You got probably the three. I
Big brains.
No, I was gonna say probably like the three most outspoken people in Boop possible.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like Alayla being the captain, she definitely will tell you what's on her mind. Me being the shot caller, I'm usually one of the more talkative people.
Yeah. And me with zero filter.
Yeah, I have no filter. Yeah, he has no filter. I also I'm the type of person where I'm very analytical.
And I really try not to get in trouble.
Oh yeah, he gets in trouble every game though.
Yeah,
you should hear her after.
I get in trouble with Alayla and you. I'm okay with that. I'm trying not to get in trouble with like Yeti and Thug.
Yeah.
Every time he posts in the general chat, I'm like, oh no, I think that's what he said.
Didn't you almost get suspended for saying
Bard
a
is
word on
typing.
stream?
Oh god, what's coming?
One time he said something, and I was like, Bard does not represent Boop in
The
any
Team
way.
Boop brand. To be fair, I feel like I do represent the Team Boop brand. It's just I represent the memeiest part of the Team Boop brand.
Oh boy.
Like when it comes to I will say though that it almost feels like everyone has their role on the team, which is the other like huge thing, because like we don't really step into each other's territories. Like for instance, I'm the type of person where I'm very much like I focus on the in game. Like out of everyone on the team, I'm probably the one that controls the tempo the most in game. Like when it comes to like what we're running, what our plan is, that usually goes to Layla with a mix of Bard and some maps. But when it comes to like the tempo in game, that's pretty much what I'm the one controlling as the shot caller. And the other thing that's huge about that, and I think is probably one of the biggest things that we do, is that we understand that hey, we all have a role, and we do it really well. Like when like we trust each other to fulfill our role. Like no one's gonna be like, oh, hey Shadow, you're not being aggressive enough. Like everyone understands that at this point. Like it was definitely there at the beginning, but like people understand like, hey, I got my reasons for going where I'm going. Like everyone's got like understands that hey, we're running comps because Alayla knows what she's doing. Hey, we know we're not agreeing with Bard because we know what Bard is. Like we all have our thing.
Also, we don't have anybody on the team that goes, "You suck," because like
Yeah.
that used to be a problem. It isn't anymore, but
We've all come to a mutual agreement. We all suck equally now. So we just leave it at that.
Gotcha. Well, we're going towards the last portion of the podcast, and a lot of the ending stuff is pretty scripted, so we'll keep in theme. The first one is a group question to all of you. Y'all can have different answers, which is who out of game contributes the most to the team's morale, whether it's preferably positively, but we can talk negatively if we want to.
Shadow, you can go first.
I'm trying to think of my answers. Or give me a second, because
Bard, answer this before you go.
Oh, and he's muted.
Bard said he has to go. Hold on.
Oh, sad face.
Honestly, I think when it comes to like positively, honestly, I think like Alayla does a good job of just keeping us in check, and like if we do bad, she definitely like just breaks it off like, hey, this is where we're ending, and if we do good, she's like, hey, like, you know, guys, like we did great, like let's just enjoy this time, like we're not talking about next match, let's just enjoy what we have right now. So I think Alayla's probably one of the bigger out of games, like toward especially like right after a match.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, we appreciate anybody who's willing to actually talk after a match, because you know it's hard, especially when if you get an L or a dub, to actually keep on track and talk about what we need to do to get ready for next week or just for an upcoming scrim. So that's super cool. But we can move past that and we can talk about another subject, unless you want to think of one really quick, Layla. But rest in peace, Bard. Hopefully they come back before the end so they can say goodbye. But the next one was who's the most improved since joining Boop? So this could be on the role, it could just be as a person, it could be anything. Any as long as you tell us your quantifier, then we'll be fine. But yeah,
I think Erase's Mercy has to be up there. Our healer, like his, like we definitely like his Mercy is definitely improved. Like it was good to start, but like it's definitely improved even more and more like the more he plays it. So it's definitely interesting to see. Like it's not a role, but a specific hero that he's been really working on, and honestly, I think great strides on it.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree, but I think like overall, I would have to say Widows and then Shadow. Like, unfortunately, Widows is having some like real life issues, so he is on a leave of absence right now. But he's still very much part of our team, and so he started off basically just being like, yeah, I'm a healer main. I can play some Mercy. My Lucio's not great. And now he can play basically every healer. And he's really, really good at Lucio. He's really good at Mercy. He's good at Ana. And then Shadow, he touched on it earlier. Like, he came as a Diva player. And now he's playing Rhine and Sigma. And so it's just like, and it's not like he's just playing them to get by. Like he's playing them and he's playing them well. You know, that it's like honestly, without Shadow, we would probably not be as good of a team as we are right now. And you look at our record and you're like, you're not good now. But like we would be even worse without Shadow because he really did step into that role.
Gotcha. No, shout out to you, Shadow. Good job.
Yeah.
So right now we'll get where feelings get hurt, and that is the ever-awaited tier list. We're geared to talk specifically about your own like tier. But we can talk about the Discord one as well. If you keep up with it. But first things first, let's dive into the Harmony tier. It's meant to be you all talking about it together. But if one person just is like, "Hey, I'm the one keeping up with the Harmony tier, guys. Let me do this tier list," you can go ahead and shoot that as well. So we only do a top 8. So if you want to talk about anyone below that, please be nice. Don't say, "Well, this team's obviously the worst." So let's see where you end up putting everybody. So you can jump right in.
Okay.
If we're talking top 8, honestly, like I gotta give shoutouts to Illusion. Illusion is an amazing and well structured team. Like as our scrim partner, like we get to see them at like with all of the new stuff that they try out, and they really put in the work. And honestly, I think they are definitely like solidified at one of the top 8 teams.
Cool.
Yeah, so obviously I love Illusion. They've done a lot for us. They've worked with us, Nick and Ivy, and honestly, and Gecko. Like there isn't a single bad person on Illusion. They're great people, and like I said, they're like kind of the first teams after everything, just all the drama. They were just like, well, you know, like let us help you. We can scrim and practice and get better. And so that's like to their character, but as players they're just as good. They have a lot in their back pocket, they can be like, oh, I'm going to play this character. And then you think you're going to get that. And then they're playing something completely different. And you're like, okay, we did not prep for that because we didn't know they could even do that. So they're up there. I definitely think Maelstrom is the best team in the league. Or in the community. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yikes.
It happens to
Get it.
everybody.
Sorry, I'm
Get it.
Ski. Okay, anyway. So yeah, Maelstrom is definitely number one in my opinion. Probably Vitamin C, then Illusion, Holy Jalapenos. Like they're good. People sleep on them. I don't know why. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Beth is good. Johnny's good. I mean, everybody in the team can beat in just like normal sports. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. Fighting Potatoes are a lot better than they were or have been in the past. Karma's up there.
For sure,
yeah.
Karma. I think Vitamin C. I think it's also going to be interesting with Vitamin C because they did make a few changes recently, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see where they end up now. I think also another huge team where like people kind of saw them like revolve around what people thought was Melts, but honestly, I think Jetpack Cats like they're solidifying their roster a lot more, especially after losing Melts, and I think they could definitely be a contender for one of the top 8.
Cool. I have right now the order just the way you said them. So Maelstrom, Vitamin C, Illusion, Jalapenos, Potatoes, Karma, Jetpack Cats. Do you want to change that at all before you give the final 8? Or
Yeah, Karma's like above Potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Potatoes are probably like 8.
8?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I have Jetpack Cats as like 6, and then we saw like the 7th placeholder, whatever team you want to add
Yeah.
there, whether it be
Oh, that'd probably be like DDoS.
Yeah.
DDoS. Gotcha.
DDoS is one of those teams like they're definitely way better than they seem they would be, but at the same time, like it's almost like a mixed bag with DDoS. Like sometimes you see them do really really well, and then sometimes you see them kind of be lackluster. It's almost like
Yeah.
it's like they have two faces, and it's just like which one are you gonna see that day? I think if they can solidify that good face a lot better, they can definitely keep up in top 8.
Actually, can you put Illusion a second? Thank
Yeah,
you.
definitely Illusion second.
Okay, sure.
Like, come on.
Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't really keep up with the Discord tier, so that would be Alayla's job.
If it isn't meant to be, it isn't meant to be. I'm not trying to force anything.
Well, I mean, they definitely overall have less drama than our
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like it's a little bit harder, but like commit, they're probably the best. Let's be honest. Meteors, they're pretty good. Prodigious, Renovatio, Sugar Rush. I mean, they do good sometimes.
Ooh, sometimes.
No, they do. They do. It's just interesting. And then Instalock, you know, they have their moments. It sucks because like I really like Eclipse, but they're dealing with a lot of drama right now. It's unfortunate. But they were up there for a long while, and then I don't know what happened. So it's tough to see teams like in both leagues that have to deal with roster changes or taking penalties, and it really does. Like people are like, oh, whatever, just deal with it and move on. But it does take a toll. You basically have to rebuild your team no matter how small the changes. So
yeah,
hurts us
and
all.
I was gonna say if anyone has like a good sense of that, like it doesn't matter who we lose, like especially teams that are very like mixed really well. Like for our team, like the way we build our teams is that everyone's an equal part. We don't really have someone that's like if we lose them, like we'll be gone forever. Like literally, like and we've shown that like we've lost our shot, we've lost good mechanical players, like we've lost like some like people that we leaned on, like where like the smallest change you can come back from, but no matter what, that change will hit hard for the first like few games after.
For sure, for sure. Well, we're coming down to the last minute. Did you have 2 more you want to add to the Discord tier? Or do you just want to just end it where you know it?
just end it where I know it. I
Excellent.
feel like if I say anything else, it
I'm,
might
you know,
get...
you said my team third, so Boop is now my new favorite team in Harmony's here.
Hey,
Absolutely.
we'll take it. We'll
We
take it.
have yet to be on this tier list, and I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of us. I'm ashamed of my choice and teams to interview. But you guys have made me a happy player and coach.
Aw.
So thank you so much for coming out. Thanks to the stream. Thanks to Juke for always being on my butt. And thank you to Layla and Shadows Fang and Bard. Rest in peace. Hope you're okay. That's gonna be Boop and JuCo for this week's Monday interview. Have a great night, everybody, and again, thanks.
All right.